Hi folks. Tomorrow at Cup Church we will be celebrating communion for the first time in quite a while, and so this week we are taking some time to look at the sacrament of the Lord's Supper. Right here is a picture of my grandfather on my dad's side. Both of my grandfathers were pastors, and somewhere in the collection of stuff from my grandfather there is a little token with the name of the church. In the early days of his ministry, before the congregation would share in communion together, Tom Graham would go around to the parishioners and ask them some questions to see if they were prepared to share in the Lord's Supper together. And if he felt that they passed, he would give them the token that they would return to him upon coming to the Lord's table. And why does that happen? Well, there's a passage that Paul writes in 1 Corinthians in talking about the Lord's Supper, and he says here in chapter 11 these words: "Whoever eats the bread or drinks the cup of the Lord in an unworthy manner will be guilty concerning the body and blood of the Lord. Let a person examine himself then, and so eat of the bread and drink of the cup. For anyone who eats and drinks without discerning the body eats and drinks judgment on himself." Well, what does it mean to discern the body, and what does it mean to examine yourself in coming to the Lord's table? Two things that I want to bring out today. One is, in examining ourselves, are we ready to forgive? Jesus talks about if you know that you hold something against someone and you're ready to worship, you need to be reconciled to them and then come back. And he even puts it the other way as well. If you know someone has something against you, get reconciled. And every week when we say the Lord's Prayer, we say, "Forgive our debts as we forgive our debtors." So especially in these days, more than ever, as we look at how our country is struggling with issues of reconciliation, are we ready to allow the Lord to give us the strength to forgive as the Lord has forgiven us? So that's one thing that we are to do in preparing to come to the Lord's table. The other thing I would point out is, are we ready to follow? Are we ready to let the Lord lead us where he is calling us to go? For the Corinthians, that really meant, are you willing to humble yourself and act like a servant with other members of the congregation, whether they are different from you in their class, race, whatever it is? God is calling us to live as servants. That's always been the case, but boy, that's more important than ever. So while we don't give out tokens to say, yes, you're ready to come to the Lord's table, take some time to examine your heart, your mind, your will before the Lord, and allow him to work in you to bring you to a place of forgiving and following. God bless you today.